Rabbit hair needle. Kaguya Ōtsutsuki's rabbit hair needle appears deceptively simple. It transforms her hair into hardened, metallic needles and launches them with extreme velocity. This ability depends heavily on her Byakugan to accurately locate pressure points and weak spots on the target's body. During the battle against Team 7, she used this to pierce Sasuke's Susanoo and damage his arm directly. However, despite the visual impact, rabbit hair needle lacks both scale and strategic weight. Its main limitation lies in the narrow area of effect. It targets individuals or small groups, rather than altering the flow of a large battlefield. In Naruto's world, where large-scale warfare and area of effect jutsu dominate, rabbit hair needle remains limited to isolated strikes. While the speed and precision make it dangerous in a surprise assault, any experienced shinobi with strong defenses or quick reflexes can evade or mitigate its impact, as shown when Sasuke avoided most of the barrage. From a destructive perspective, the technique causes significant harm when it connects. Yet, its effectiveness drops sharply if it misses vital points. It lacks the cellular level erasure of the Allkilling Ashbones or the disruption caused by wide-area space-time techniques. It's closer in nature to traditional projectiles, albeit powered by divine chakra. Tactically, rabbit hair needle is a tool best suited for disrupting a target's focus or exploiting brief openings. However, it cannot shift momentum in a large-scale confrontation. It offers no defensive utility and can be countered with enhanced sensory awareness or protective jutsu. Chakra cost is unknown, but the simplicity of the attack suggests a lower burden compared to dimension-altering abilities.
Now, if you've made it this far, welcome to the amazing world of anime. This is the place for true fans like you, where we celebrate all the magic, action, and emotions anime brings to our lives. You've watched, you've felt the hype, you've been lost in these beautiful fantasy worlds, but, have you hit that subscribe button yet? Right now, almost 90% of you are watching without subscribing. Just imagine, if everyone hits sub, we could build one of the strongest anime communities out there. So, go ahead, click that subscribe button right now so you won't miss any new episodes, deep dive breakdowns, or awesome anime content coming your way. Thank you so much. Now next on the list, just a little bit higher, is
80 Gods Vacuum Attack. The 80 Gods Vacuum Attack takes Kaguya's raw physical strength and amplifies it through divine chakra. This taijutsu-based technique converts her chakra into invisible, high-speed punches that strike with overwhelming force. Its most notable moment occurred when it shattered Sasuke's perfect Susanoo, one of the strongest known defenses, with a single barrage. What separates this technique from conventional taijutsu is its range. These attacks are not limited to close quarters. Kaguya delivers them from a distance with pinpoint accuracy, enabled by her Byakugan's omnidirectional field of vision. While traditional hand-to-hand combat relies on timing and proximity, this attack functions like a long-range artillery system that remains undetectable until impact. Despite its power, the 80 Gods Vacuum Attack remains focused on direct defense. It cannot reshape the battlefield, alter the environment, or trap the enemy. It affects only the immediate space in front of Kaguya and does not scale into a wide-range threat. Targets with strong mobility or the ability to predict attacks may escape partial damage, though the technique's speed makes such escapes rare. In terms of chakra cost, this technique appears to demand a substantial amount, yet Kaguya deploys it repeatedly without fatigue. That suggests it is highly efficient for its destructive output. However, it does not leave lingering effects, apply status conditions, or disrupt the enemy's strategy long-term. Byakugan, Kaguya's version. Kaguya's version of the Byakugan is far beyond the standard eye technique used by the Hyuga clan. It provides complete 360-degree vision with no blind spots and allows her to see through nearly any form of deception or camouflage. Unlike the ordinary Byakugan, which tires its user, Kaguya's divine chakra allows for continuous use without strain. This dojutsu does not deliver damage directly. Instead, it enhances all other abilities Kaguya possesses. She uses it to spot Naruto's clones before they approach, identify Sasuke's vulnerable angles during flight, and track movement across massive distances. In battle, it serves as a surveillance tool, removing uncertainty and enabling precision. Its contribution becomes more apparent when used in conjunction with offensive techniques. Rabbit hair needle becomes lethal because the Byakugan ensures every strike targets a critical area. Similarly, 80 Gods Vacuum Attack becomes far harder to avoid when Kaguya can predict and follow her opponent's every motion. However, the technique's supportive nature is also its limitation. It does not disable or neutralize threats by itself. It provides no protection against ninjutsu or physical strikes. Although it prevents ambushes and misdirection, it cannot stop an attack once launched. Therefore, while essential to Kaguya's overall combat strategy, it relies on other abilities to convert visual information into tangible results. Its chakra requirements are minimal for someone of Kaguya's scale. She can sustain this vision throughout a prolonged battle without pause, giving her complete battlefield awareness at all times. Allkilling Ashbones. Among Kaguya Ōtsutsuki's arsenal, the Allkilling Ashbones stands out for its lethal precision and irreversible effects. This technique allows her to grow elongated, gray bone spears from her body and launch them at high speed toward any target. What sets it apart is its molecular-level destruction. Once the bone pierces its victim, their body begins to disintegrate into ash, bypassing all healing or regeneration capabilities. No countermeasures exist once the effect has begun. In terms of scale, the jutsu is focused. It affects only the individual struck by the bone, meaning it doesn't disrupt large groups or the battlefield as a whole. However, this limitation is balanced by its absolute lethality. Even those with 6 paths powers, such as Naruto and Sasuke, would be eliminated instantly if struck directly. The jutsu bypasses conventional chakra defenses, making it one of the few techniques in the series that guarantees death without any secondary conditions. Its versatility increases its tactical value. The bones can be used as ranged projectiles, melee stabbing tools, or launched through space-time portals. This allows Kaguya to attack from unexpected angles, especially when combined with techniques like Yamotu Hiasaka. In the case of Obito's death, she utilized the bones during a dimension shift, landing a fatal blow before he could react. Defensively, the technique can be avoided with speed or predictive movement. However, because the attack is fast and often launched without warning, avoidance is difficult. Once the bones make contact, no form of defense or healing is effective. There is no counter jutsu or barrier that has proven effective against its core effect. The chakra cost remains unknown. However, Kaguya uses it frequently throughout battle without signs of fatigue. This implies high efficiency, especially for a jutsu of such power. It does not drain her like dimension-based techniques, making it sustainable in drawn-out combat. Yamotu Hiasaka. Yamotu Hiasaka is Kaguya's primary space-time ability, giving her immediate access to any dimension she controls. Unlike most teleportation jutsu in the series, this one does not rely on seals, markings, or activation delay. Kaguya can tear open black portals in the air and move between points in space, or even between different realities, instantly repositioning herself or her opponents. This technique allows her to manipulate the battlefield beyond physical limits. She can isolate individuals, trap them in separate worlds, or escape before an enemy can retaliate. During her battle with Team 7, she used it to remove Sasuke from the fight entirely, transporting him to a dimension he could not escape on his own. That action effectively reduced the team's coordination and control of the encounter. The attack value of Yamotu Hiasaka increases when used in combination with lethal techniques like Allkilling Ashbones. By opening a portal behind her target, Kaguya can strike from angles that cannot be predicted or blocked. It transforms straightforward jutsu into ambush tactics that bypass standard defense patterns. Though the technique doesn't deal direct damage, its ability to fragment the battlefield and isolate threats makes it one of the most dangerous tools in high-level combat. It turns any fight into a multi-dimensional trap, where the enemy is constantly forced to react without knowing what comes next. Compared to other space-time jutsu, Yamotu Hiasaka has no equal. Kamui and Hiraishin are restricted by mechanics such as time delays or pre-marked targets. Kaguya's portals appear instantly, without any setup. They also span between entire dimensions, which none of the others can match. From a chakra standpoint, the technique is energy-intensive. However, Kaguya uses it repeatedly throughout her battles, suggesting that her divine chakra reserves are sufficient to support it at full scale. That alone limits its availability to beings of her level or higher. Yamotu Hiasaka's strength lies in total spatial control. It lacks direct defense, but compensates with its ability to redefine movement, positioning, and battlefield layout. Its dependence on other techniques for finishing attacks prevents it from ranking higher, but as a foundation for ambushes and map control, it is unmatched among space-time jutsu. Amanaka. Amanaka represents Kaguya Ōtsutsuki's highest level of environmental control. Unlike teleportation techniques that move individuals, this jutsu shifts the entire space around the user. With a single activation, Kaguya swaps the battlefield with one of her 6 controlled dimensions, each engineered to create tactical disadvantages, such as lava fields, icy terrain, or high gravity zones. This ability affects the entire area, forcing all combatants into new environmental conditions without warning. During her battle against Team 7, she used Amanaka to transfer the team from stable terrain to a lava dimension. This sudden shift nearly ended the fight immediately, highlighting the threat that battlefield manipulation poses at this level. Traditional evasion and strategy become ineffective when the ground itself changes. Amanaka does not inflict damage directly. Its strength lies in creating environments where survival becomes more difficult and offense becomes inefficient. By relocating enemies to hostile terrain, Kaguya disrupts their tactics and forces reactive behavior. The technique serves as a control method rather than an eliminator, which makes it especially valuable in team-based combat where terrain advantage can shift group dynamics. Strategically, this jutsu enables total environmental dominance. No other character in the series demonstrates the ability to force a dimensional transition of this scale mid-battle. Space-time techniques like Kamui and Flying Raijin only transport people. Amanaka transforms the space itself. However, this power comes at a high cost. Each use requires a massive amount of chakra, even for Kaguya. Prolonged use results in visible fatigue, as seen when she pauses between shifts to recover. Its usage is therefore limited by chakra sustainability rather than tactical opportunity. Rene Sharingan. Rene Sharingan stands as the central dojutsu that defines the highest tier of ocular power in the Naruto universe. This eye, characterized by the combined patterns of the Rinnegan and Sharingan, is not merely symbolic. It serves as the functional core of multiple world-changing abilities. Kaguya, after consuming the chakra fruit, awakened this eye at the center of her forehead, allowing her to wield techniques that no other bloodline can support alone. The power of Rene Sharingan is indirect, but foundational. It allows access to techniques such as Amanaka and infinite Sukuyomi. Without this dojutsu, these divine skills cannot be executed. While the eye does not create destructive output on its own, it acts as the trigger for abilities with planetary or interdimensional consequences. Its most impactful use is as the channeling device for infinite Sukuyomi. When activated through reflection on the moon, this creates a global genjutsu with no known natural resistance outside 6 paths chakra. Likewise, Rene Sharingan is what enables Amanaka's dimensional shift. Without this dojutsu, Kaguya would be unable to shape or weaponize space at will. Despite its scale, the Rene Sharingan does not manifest active offensive or defensive capabilities by itself. It functions as a control panel, granting the user access to higher-tier techniques, but requiring other conditions to activate them. Infinite Sukuyomi needs moonlight as a reflective surface. Amanaka requires massive chakra expenditure. These dependencies place limitations on the dojutsu's flexibility in unpredictable battle scenarios. Only Kaguya and, briefly, Madara as the Ten Tails Jinchuriki were capable of unlocking this eye. Its chakra demand is beyond any standard ninja. Even possessing the Rinnegan is not enough without the divine chakra from the God Tree. God, Nativity of a World of Trees. God, Nativity of a World of Trees is the final phase of Kaguya's plan following the activation of infinite Sukuyomi. Once the global illusion traps every living being, the God Tree spreads its roots across the planet, capturing all victims and suspending them in an unconscious state. This technique is not intended to kill, but to convert. The roots slowly drain chakra from each person, turning them into white zetsu over time. The scale is planetary. No distinction is made between shinobi, civilian, or beast. Anyone caught under the influence of infinite Sukuyomi becomes part of the system. Only those protected by Six Paths chakra, such as Team 7 under Sasuke's Susanoo, were immune. In terms of reach, few jutsu in the series affect this many targets simultaneously. The transformation process erases a person's identity, replacing it with a biological husk controlled by Kaguya. Unlike genjutsu, which can potentially be dispelled, this technique alters the physical body. Victims are neither alive in the traditional sense nor dead, but permanently fused into a chakra farm for the god tree. No evidence exists of reversal once the white zetsu conversion begins. Although the technique lacks immediate physical destruction, its effects are lasting and irreversible. The battlefield becomes irrelevant, as the opposition is neutralized without combat. What distinguishes it further is its regenerative nature. Even if the roots are destroyed, they regenerate from the central god tree, making the process nearly impossible to disrupt once started. God. Nativity of a world of trees does not operate independently. It only activates after infinite Sukuyomi. That dependency limits its flexibility, as it cannot be used in isolation. However, once initiated, the technique maintains itself without further chakra input. The original god tree fuels the system, and Kaguya remains in full control. Infinite Sukuyomi. Infinite Sukuyomi is a genjutsu cast on a global scale, enabled through the Rene Sharingan and activated by reflecting its light onto the moon. Once deployed, it engulfs the entire planet in a web of light that places every living being into a permanent dream. Unlike standard illusions, this genjutsu cannot be broken by conventional means and does not require direct eye contact. The technique bypasses the need for battle. It ends conflict instantly by suppressing consciousness. Each target experiences a dream tailored to their desires, ensuring compliance through satisfaction rather than force. Figures as powerful as the Five Cage, Killer Bee, and even tailed beasts were unable to resist. The only known countermeasures require Six Paths chakra and Rinnegan-based protection. Infinite Sukuyomi affects all targets simultaneously. This includes shinobi, civilians, animals, and even tailed beasts. Once activated, it overrides all active techniques and halts movement across the battlefield. The scale of influence is absolute, leaving no one untouched unless shielded by specific chakra combinations. The genjutsu itself does not cause death. However, it functions as the gateway to further manipulation, specifically the activation of God. Nativity of a world of trees. Victims held in the illusion become energy sources for the god tree's roots. In this sense, the technique transitions from mental control to long-term biological conversion. Its weakness lies in its one-time use and conditional activation. It requires the presence of the moon as a reflector and access to the Rene Sharingan. These factors limit its versatility in combat environments that lack the necessary celestial conditions. Additionally, the technique is most effective when launched as a final move rather than in open combat. Expansive Truth-Seeking Ball. The expansive Truth-Seeking Ball is the pinnacle of destructive chakra-based techniques in the Naruto universe. It combines all 5 basic nature transformations with yin-yang release to form a single massive orb capable of erasing an entire dimension. Unlike standard truth-seeking balls used by Six Paths level shinobi, this enhanced version operates on a scale far beyond battlefield application. The technique draws its power from a planetary source. After infinite Sukuyomi is activated, and God, Nativity of a world of trees, begins absorbing chakra from the global population, Kaguya concentrates that energy into the expansive truth-seeking ball. This allows the jutsu to expand continuously, growing larger with every second and absorbing enough power to destabilize space itself. Its scale is unmatched. Rather than affecting individuals or the environment, it targets entire dimensions. During the final confrontation with Team 7, the ball grew to the point that it threatened to destroy the entire frozen space Kaguya had pulled them into. The only way to stop it was to seal Kaguya herself. No technique, including Kamui or Six Paths ninjutsu, was capable of deflecting, shrinking, or containing the orb once fully formed. Unlike Infinite Sukuyomi, which requires specific activation conditions tied to the moon, expansive truth-seeking ball can be launched in any space where enough chakra is gathered. This removes environmental limitations and allows for more flexible deployment in high-stakes combat. It is not bound to a celestial body or a time window, making it adaptable for offensive strategy without delay. Its defensive countermeasures are non-existent. The technique cannot be dodged, phased through, or absorbed. Space-time jutsu fail to reach inside the dimensional zone it begins consuming. Once released, it operates like a gravitational sink that consumes matter, chakra, and dimensional structure until its energy stabilizes through destruction or user incapacitation. From a resource perspective, the chakra required is not achievable by any individual other than Kaguya. It necessitates the absorption of life energy on a global level. This reinforces its exclusivity as a divine technique tied directly to the chakra originator and the god tree's full capacity. Expansive truth-seeking ball ranks highest among Kekkei Mōra due to its capacity to erase and remake reality. It functions independently, does not rely on environmental cues, and cannot be countered once active. No other ability surpasses its destructive potential, making it the ultimate form of chakra manipulation within the Naruto series. Do you think the expansive truth-seeking ball is worth the crown? Tell me in the comments section. And hey, we read every single comment, so don't be shy. Thank you for enjoying our video. See ya!